Hello. I am Perez Hilton, and you are watching AntiNews. AntiNews, for those of you who are soulless, catty, ginger shills, that is the podcast for you and me.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
Ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that.
Have to stop before they do what I call nastiness or
I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Thieves were possessing weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda.
Handle the truth!
I remember that with Massachusetts. We are still here!
We have to say yes to
No. It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the least trusted name in news on the least comfortable show on the web. It is the AntiNews, where we typically drink the drinks, smoke the smokes, and just watch the world burn and have a good old jolly laugh about it as we do. And we're getting to a time, it's been like, what, 3 months? 3 months, Craig? It's been something like that?
It's been a while.
Yes.
Have we
gone
done this
through
at all since I started my show?
I think we did it once at the beginning of your show and promoted your show, but I think that's the only time we've done it. It's been too long, and the reason is because what do you even talk about? What do you even focus on? It's like scattershot. Everything is happening. Since in the last 3 months, I want to go back and listen to the naive little boys 3 months ago talking about the things that are going on in the world and compare that to where we are now, because we've gone through like 6 different parallel dimensions in the last 3 months, and it's impossible to keep up with what's what. I also, I don't know, I haven't been super stoked on doing it again because I don't know what's going on half the time. Like, there's so many different angles to everything, and everybody knows what's going on, they say, and they will call you all sorts of names and put labels on you if you are this or that. If I support one thing, then I am a leftist. If I support another thing, then I am a right-wing extremist. So it doesn't really matter what you talk about. You are wrong. I don't think we're allowed to say that on YouTube anymore, Craig.
You can't say Nazi on YouTube anymore? I don't know why you can't say the word Nazi on YouTube.
All right, that's enough. But yeah, I also, there's a part of me that's like, I don't want to further this rage and this divisiveness. I don't want to push this forward with all that, but what do? We're gonna. So Craig, are you ready to get in trouble?
Well, I basically do this every single week. So, and every week it's like, well, we're not the show, the coronavirus and riot show, but it seems like every week just more.
That's all there is
from the coronavirus, and it's not even like the 24-hour news cycle where we're just repeating the same things over and over. It's just like legitimately something else fucking comes up.
Yes.
Somebody else gets shot and another riot pops up, and
yes. Well, when you have riots every single night for the last, like, since we finished this, there's been a riot every single night. So how do you cover that? How do you cover that, especially like once a week?
Every week there's something new to write about, too. It's not even just writing George Floyd anymore. I don't even think anybody even remembers who George Floyd is anymore because there's been so many things that have popped up. Because now it's the Kenosha thing. And then there was another one. There was the guy that just got like a bag put over his head or something, naked in the streets and died. I don't even know
about this. I can't even keep up with this, and I watch the news every day. Not that I should, not that it's healthy for me. I'm sure that it's not, but I watch the news every day, and there's still shit like that, like giant breaking stories that I haven't even heard about because it's so constant, nonstop. And I posted, what was I going to say? I posted a thing. Oh, the COVID thing that some people got mad about. What are your thoughts on this? Did you see my post about, I said if this wasn't an election year, COVID would have been long gone by now?
Oh, absolutely agree, 100%. I mean, look at Ebola. It was around for what, 2 months, and it was the big scare for forever, and then all of a sudden, what's Ebola? Like, just dropped off the news cycle completely within like a month or two.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it would have been cured if it's real. Yeah, I'm going there. I'm not saying that it would have been eradicated by this point. Obviously, Ebola is still a thing, supposedly. But, I mean, there's conspiracies around that, too, whether or not that's a thing. But anyway, you get my point. I don't think that it would have been eradicated, but the vast span between the actual threat and the fear level is so huge that just because of this election thing, because it is being used as propaganda on both sides to push their agenda, to say Trump's doing an amazing job, see these numbers, or Trump's doing a terrible job, see these numbers. Like the exact same information is being put out to push on both sides to push their political propaganda.
Yeah, and you saw it in the national conventions. You saw the Democrats' main talking point is how terrible Trump is doing with the coronavirus, and then the Republicans' main talking point was how well Trump is dealing with the coronavirus.
Yes.
So
it's
like,
exactly.
Are you doing good or are you doing bad? Because I don't know at this point.
Right, and I tuned into a little bit of the conventions, and the first thing I saw when I turned on the RNC was, it was, I don't remember which channel it was, probably NBC or something, but they as soon as I turned on the TV, it was like, and if you look around, I don't see a single person with masks here. That is a little concerning. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, that's not even what they're talking about. You're just finding something to complain. Like, you're just using every little bit of information that you can against, I don't know, for a news outlet to be so flagrantly biased, which is obviously not a new, a new thing, but
did you hear? It was CNN. I think it was. Who's that main guy? He's like a kind of blackish guy on CNN that has the
Don
really
Lemon
voice. Yeah, probably. He was sitting there saying before the Republican National Convention on how they're going to cover it, and they're like, "Well, we need to stop and think. Like, how are we going to cut away from it and pull away from the convention when they start spitting like lies or non-truths and stuff? Are we just going to turn that off?" It's just like,
is that how news works? You just stop reporting on it if you disagree with it?
Not even stop reporting. They just stop showing it. It's just like, no, that's not true. Click.
Yes.
Because there was a it was a nun I think it was a nun or something that was coming up and talking about pro-life and telling these like kind of horror stories about abortion and stuff. And CNN
sure
didn't
it wasn't
play that
Abby Johnson?
CNN didn't play that at all.
Yeah.
Didn't show that entire speech because it went against their narrative. And people don't play this because people might change their mind. Our viewers might change their mind. If you're that concerned that viewers might change their
then
mind,
your
you
argument
might be doing
sucks.
something wrong.
Exactly. It's like I always say with like Christianity and stuff. If you're afraid of people questioning your information, then your information sucks, and you need to think about that. Because if your argument doesn't hold water and you can't defend it, then you might be wrong. It's a possibility.
Yeah, my favorite churches are the ones that actually have like an atheist come up and give their side, and they kind of debate back and forth. It's like if your argument's strong enough that you can debate somebody on the other side, you're good. You're golden. But if you're afraid that this atheist is going to come up and half your congregation is going to turn atheist,
then your God
something
sucks.
wrong. Yes, and you suck at marketing him.
Exactly. So, we need to start off with a little bit of entertainment news to kick this off in a happy mood, because the rest is going to suck, I'm sure. But we'll do these briefly, but I got to make some mentions. I have received some things this week in the entertainment field that are notable and worth shouting out. The first one being Tom MacDonald's 2 new albums, which I'm going to get in trouble for even owning, probably, because this guy's gone off the rails as far as being delightfully offensive, in my opinion, and I support it and endorse it 100%. If you haven't heard, Tom McDonald's been on the show, interviewed him, awesome guy, and he does some very controversial stuff. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that he does that's edgy and controversial is just what we're all thinking. Maybe I'm just a terrible person, but I don't agree with everything that he says, so don't quote me on that. But a lot of stuff that all of us are like, this is nice. This is nice to get back to just being, edgy and not caring about getting canceled.
Right.
And you can't cancel the man because he's not on any label. He's independent and he's self-created. He sells all of his stuff still on hard copy, and everyone is autographed because he doesn't need anybody else to do it. I'm not going to stroke his ego too much, but I did want to give a shout out. He released Gravestones, which is the new full length, and a mixtape called Flowers for the Dead, which is also a full length because it's got like 15 tracks on it. And then I've listened to Gravestones, and it is hilarious and fantastic, and I would encourage you to go buy it. And I'll probably do a review of it because nobody reviews Tom McDonald's full-length albums because they're all hard copies, so I like to do so. Anyway, that's that. In other entertainment news, let's see, which one should I talk about first? I think the good transition here is in talking about whether or not you can be canceled. 21 Pilots got canceled. Did you hear about this?
No, what the? I didn't even know they were still really doing much. But
oh yeah,
how did 21 Pilots get canceled?
This is where we are today, folks. This is the state of things.
Well,
we'll read this.
There are white people trying to rap, so.
Oh no, it's not even that offensive.
Oh,
it's not even as offensive as his skin color. This comes from thesun.co.uk, so you know it's legit. And it says, "Rude and ignorant," quote.
Before you move on,
okay.
Do you know how many times I have to stop myself in my show from saying, it's legit when I give a news article? Because I've just got accustomed to saying
right. It is the go-to. And for those that are new here, it means nothing because we say that about all of them because none of them are legit.
No,
we got to put them all in the same boat. They're just as legit as we are, and we are the least legitimate news source in history. But
absolutely.
In fact, we're so illegitimate that I don't know what this article contains. Let's find out together. What did Tyler Joseph say, and why are people canceling the 21 Pilots star on Twitter? The 21 Pilots star is now facing backlash after he doubled down on the tweet. Oh, so there's more to the story than what I initially knew. Joseph, 31, had apologized, but people are still canceling the singer. What had his fans canceled for What had his fans called for Tyler Joseph to do? Okay, this is a horribly written story. Fans called on Joseph to use his social media platforms as an artist to speak out on injustices in America. Okay, you following? You tracking?
He said, what did he say? No.
Well, we'll get to that, but let me rephrase this. People who pay him money to make music insist that he says certain words on Twitter. They're demanding that he say certain words, otherwise his music doesn't matter. This is where, when did politics become literally everything? We used to be able to enjoy a song and not think, I wonder if this artist is a Democrat or Republican. Like, who cares?
Right.
Who cares what he thinks? Who cares what Taylor Swift thinks?
Do you remember back in the day Googling whether or not an artist was a Christian or not, to see whether or not we could listen to them in our household?
Oh, yeah. I remember reading the linear notes to see if they thanked God.
It's like that.
Yep. It is like that. That's a good point. These people are going through his Twitter like, does he thank Black Lives Matter? If he doesn't, then he's not a Christian or whatever. Fans had called on the musician to speak out to his more than 2.2 million Twitter followers and 5.1 million Instagram users. The calls came amid ongoing Black Lives Matter demonstrations as protesters demand an end to systemic racism and police brutality. We know all this. Okay, so what happened was...
I like how they have to put that story in every story just to explain. In case you don't remember, the reason why people are outraged is because of this story that you keep forgetting about because so many things have happened.
The nightly riots.
Right.
Tyler Joseph got canceled. He said, you guys keep asking me to use my platforms. Feels good to dust these bad boys off, he tweeted. And it's a picture of him wearing platform shoes that he's worn on stage many times. So he said he's using his platforms.
Oh, funny.
Yes. That's the tweet.
That's it. That's the one he had to apologize for.
That is the tweet.
So, he didn't even say, hey, I'm not going to do this. He just made a tongue-in-cheek joke about it, saying, hey, I'm on my platform right now. See?
Yeah. So he goes on to say, let's see. I hope these are in chronological order, but he says, this tweet, or this isn't a notes app moment. I'm doubling down on my platform tweet. It was fantastic. So he doubled down on it. He's like, screw you guys. Good. But then, he says, my tweet wasn't supposed to be about human rights. So in case you are wondering where I stand, Black Lives Matter. So he does still bend the knee. And if he believes that, not if he believes that Black Lives Matter. We believe that Black Lives Matter. Obviously, everybody does. Well, most people do. But even if he agrees with the movement, just the fact that he made a joke and then has to backpedal it and say, no, I will say the thing, I will read the script that is required for me to be, not canceled. I will do that. He goes on to say, I just wanted to take a moment to raise awareness about something else that has meant a lot to me for a long time, but now I see there's no room for that right now. So he was saying, I just wanted to make this joke, and I like these shoes. Can you guys calm the fuck down? But now I realize that I'm not allowed to say that because there's no room for jokes right now.
That's
I beg to differ, and I will prove that. Just in the duration of this episode. He says, I'm truly sorry if it hurt anyone. Here is a link with a whole lot of great info that I stand by. This has petitions and stuff. It's fine. It's fine. And I guess it's not too bad. He didn't really... he apologized, but he still kind of stood by his joke. I don't know how I feel about this one. He didn't totally bend the knee, but he kind of did. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I appreciate that he didn't come out like so many of the rest and be like, I'm sorry that was in such poor taste. I didn't realize how many people this would offend, and I will remove that tweet. Right. And I promise I will never do it again. No,
he didn't do the flogging, the self-flagellation, or whatever you want to call it. He didn't whip himself and he
stood by what he said. He's like, no, it was funny, but clearly you all can't take a joke, so my bad.
Oh, I realize there's no room for that right now on Twitter. Amongst you guys, there's no room for that because you only want to talk about one thing. And I agree. If there's injustice in the world, I am all for it. Let's end it. Let's reform the police. Let's get rid of the police. Let's do whatever we got to do, whatever works. But insisting that somebody use their platform for your message, that is cult mentality, and it is not okay. It is not okay to say, I will take your money, I will take your livelihood, I will leave your family in ruins if you do not agree with me politically, no matter how good your music is.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's just the world we live in now, where everybody has to be on the same page and saying the same things and doing the same things. And I can't even remember who I was listening to doing it. I think it was on one of the Lions of Liberty episodes. Somebody was saying, one of his guests was saying how, sure, when what's his nuts, Colin Kaepernick came out and did it to make a statement, sure, that was like a unique thing. But when everyone is expecting every player on every sports team to do it, that is no longer a freaking unique, this is my stand I'm taking. This is more of, like you said, a cult thing. This is just something we do. We have to do it to appease the liberal gods out there.
Right. It's the problem with silence is violence is that you're the one determining what qualifies you as not being silent on an issue, on a matter. You don't know what these people are doing in their day-to-day lives. Maybe they're actively, boycotting racists or whatever you think is going on. Maybe they are going way out of their way to do the exact thing that you want them to do, but they just don't want to put their livelihood in jeopardy because of, uttering or not uttering a couple words that you deem holier than all others.
Well, on a sports side, which I know you don't give two shits about, my baseball team, the Cardinals, have.
I care about sports now because it's all politics. So
yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
They have an amazing pitcher. He's like on his second year, and after the Kenosha thing happened, he decided he was going to protest and sit out a game or two, which is fine if you want to do that. That's great. That's
Sure.
your choice to do. However, then he goes on to get pissed off at the entire league for not suspending games in response to the Kenosha shooting. Like all the baseball games across the board. Like the Major League Baseball should suspend all games for a couple days in support of it. It's just like,
right.
No, every other job in the history of jobs isn't shutting down to protest this thing. My work is.
Why do you think it matters? Why do you think it makes a difference whether or not the Major League Baseball shuts down for your politics? Like, what do you think that is helping?
And that doesn't show who's like standing for it or not. That's just saying everybody do this thing, whether you support it or not. So it makes no sense. And then on a comical note, he gets up yesterday to pitch for maybe the first time since then. And man, he just threw the shittiest game ever. They pulled him out after like the second inning. It's just like, and I'm not the type of person that's like, shut up and do your job. I mean, we say it a lot, but man, I do believe these people have their own opinions, whether or not they need to use their mega millionaire platform to spit it all the time. Fine. But
you can decide to do that, but there might be consequences.
Yeah, and to me, it was just like, man, maybe you should be focusing more on your game than on trying to get the entire league shut down.
Exactly, and we're talking about multi-millionaires here,
right?
Like so it kind of is the same as the riots and stuff. People are demanding that these people, they're demanding that certain people basically quit their job in protest. It's like it has nothing to do with the actual thing that you're protesting against. It's if you demand a cop quits his job in protest, that's a different story, and we'll talk. But with the riots and stuff, it's like people are demanding that. Well, they're burning shit down. That's a way of demanding that these stores go out of business because of George Floyd or whatever. It's like zero care for other people and their livelihoods is a good thing. And the what's it called? The sports ball people. They are millionaires, so they're not going to lose a ton, but some of them aren't. And even if they are, like, how is this helping? Like I said, for one, and for two, kind of like what you said, if like Starbucks said, okay, we're shutting down all of our stores in honor of Black Lives Matter, does that suddenly make racism go away? Does that even make racism go away within their company? Of course not. If anything, it's going to piss off some employees because they're like, I had a job and now I don't because of Black Lives Matter. So I guess I'll go support Black Lives Matter. I don't think that's how most brains work.
Right. This thing single-handedly, like,
poverty for justice.
Right. This thing you're doing put me out of a job, so I support it now. That's great. Let's do this. So, I mean, we can keep bashing on this. It just goes forever.
Let's take a detour. Do you have something?
I do. I have kind of political outrage at the local level, and you may have seen this, you may have not, but
hold on. I gotta wrap up the entertainment news before we.
This is entertaining.
Okay, then go ahead. Well, is it entertaining or is it entertainment?
No, you'll get a kick out of this. It's entertaining. So you got to allow me to screen share though, because I have a video of this outrage.
Oh, why? I'll just make you a co-host. You're a co-host.
Cool. So let's see. You may have seen this. Hopefully you can hear this.
I do have that. I do have that too. Let's go ahead and
we'll both get to talk about it.
This is not entertainment news. This is entertaining news. There is a difference, but go ahead.
Okay, fine.
And do not play the whole thing because it's pretty long.
Tell me if you can hear this.
First and then
yes.
Jane and then you. Okay.
I promise I won't take up too much of your time here. My name is Ander Christensen. I live at 1212 Twin Ridge Road. Lincoln has the opportunity to be a social leader in this country.
So
We've been
serious.
casually ignoring a problem that has gotten so out of control that our children are throwing around names and words without even understanding their true meaning and treating things as though they're normal. I go into nice family restaurants and I see people throwing this name around and pretending as though everything is just fine. I'm talking about boneless chicken wings. I propose that we as a city remove the, excuse me, I'm trying to,
Yeah.
excuse me, come on. I propose that we as a city remove the name boneless wings from our menus and from our hearts. These are our reasons why. Number one, nothing about boneless chicken wings actually come from the wing of a chicken. We would be disgusted if a butcher was mislabeling their cuts of meats, but then we go around and pretending as though the breast of the chicken is its wing. Number two, boneless chicken wings are just chicken tenders, which are already boneless. I don't go to order boneless tacos. I don't go and order boneless club sandwiches. I don't ask for boneless auto repair. It's just what's expected.
He's about to break.
And then number three, we need to raise our children better. Our children are raised being afraid of having bones attached to their meat. That's where meat comes from. It grows on bones. We need to teach them that the wing of a chicken is from a chicken and it's delicious. I propose that we rename boneless wings in the city of Lincoln. We can call them buffalo-style chicken tenders. We can call them wet tenders. We can call them saucy nugs or trash.
Saucy nugs or
We can
trash.
take these steps and show the country that where we stand and that we understand that we've been living a lie for far too long. And we know it because we feel it in our bones.
Thank you.
Hold on, keep it going. Does it have the dad's comment in there?
Hey, hold it down, please.
I would.
No, they cut him off. The dad is like, I just wanted to say, that's my son. Like he's proud of him.
Call them saucy nugs or trash.
Trash, yes. Yeah.
See, that's what politics needs to be right there. Like
Exactly.
getting shit done.
The real issues.
The things
Tyler
that matter.
Joseph, come out on your platforms and please protest the real. That's gonna get me in trouble. So that's I get my wings boneless, but I don't disagree with the man.
I get my wings boneless at Buffalo Wild Wings because if you don't get them boneless at Buffalo Wild Wings, you get these little shit wings that have like no meat, and you pay the same price basically for them for like maybe like a quarter of the meat. But
I get my wings boneless because I am OCD and lazy, so I don't want to be like cleaning up that shit. I don't want to have to bring a mop to my meal.
See, I'm a process kind of person. Like I like to smoke meat with charcoal. I like the process. That's why I smoke a pipe. People are like, well, it's a lot easier to vape and stuff. Yeah, but I like the process of it.
You're like, yeah, that's why I vape. But I smoke a pipe to smoke a pipe.
Right, exactly. If I'm sitting down to watch like the Super Bowl and I'm going to, which obviously chicken wings, buffalo wings are a Super Bowl or a sports meal. If I am sitting down to watch a sports game, I want real chicken wings. I want the bones. I want to go through. I want to suck the meat off the bones. Like, but if I'm going to like Buffalo Wild Wings where I just want to eat good food, yeah, I'm going to get as much as I can for my price.
Yeah. I go for the boneless, but I don't disagree with the man. They're not wings, and
No.
I'm fine with us changing the title to, saucy nugs, saucy nugs, or trash. Even trash is fine. I don't care as long as they still taste good.
Tastes the same, right?
Exactly.
B-Dubs came out in response on Twitter. They had to have their comeback. Obviously, they said, "Hey, at handsome 121 duck." I didn't know that was. I like. Of course it is. We admire your passion for chicken wings, and we'd like to show you some love with free traditional wings this year. Oh, no. That can't be it.
It seems like something Nathan Sipes would do. Nathan, if you're listening, which you're not, because you're
he
a
would
bad
be able
friend.
to keep that straight face, too.
Yes, he would.
So, apparently, in a statement, the wing chain confirmed that it disagrees with the views Christensen said or recently shared with his city council in Lincoln, Nebraska, but they still respect his passion and added that they're planning to donate to a local charity on his behalf. Just give him Just donate to him and his chicken wings. Why are you donating to a charity? They didn't come out. They said, we serve boneless wings. Our guests love them and we love them. So while we disagree with Ander on his mission, we respect his passion for chicken. So we're giving him free traditional wings for a year. That's awesome. There you go.
They should have given him free boneless wings for a year just to be dicks.
Free saucy nugs.
Yes.
We're also going to donate $1 for every boneless wing sold on Labor Day in Lincoln, Nebraska to local Boys and Girls Club. That's kind of cool. I'll take it.
That's
politics. That's what politics
is seeing an opportunity and seizing upon it to make your business look awesome.
Yep. Marketing.
Also, something completely unrelated. We're really nice and generous. So here you go.
And go out and buy tons and tons of wings because every wing you buy will donate money. So, yeah, they're looking good, but they're also getting more sales because more people are going to be like, you know what?
Why didn't they use their platform to promote BLM?
Right.
That's the real question.
That's true. They probably have, I'm sure. Anyway.
And to clarify, again, if you're new here, Black Lives Matter is run by Marxists. Anyway, Black Lives certainly matter. And the thing is, we were all on board. We said this before. We said this in the last time. We were all on board. Black Lives Matter, yes. But then when we find out that you say that you're Marxist and you want to end the nuclear family and you riot every day, literally for 3 months, as people start to lose their luster we need to come up with a similar slogan that is not the name of a company, something that means the same thing, because obviously if you don't support the company and it's all of its goals, and you're a racist. So let's come up with something else. Leave something in the comments. Let's start a new movement. Let's start a movement that talks about minorities mattering, ending police brutality, and doesn't endorse
doesn't have a Marxist agenda.
Doesn't have any political agenda outside of ending injustice. It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same as like pro-life and pro-choice and stuff like that. If you give your company a nice, happy name, and I think I talked to you about this before, if you give your company a nice, happy name, then anybody who opposes it is evil. Like I have this company called, I think this was a Tim Pool thing, but he was like, I have this company called Helping Little Old Ladies Across the Street. But what we really do is go burn houses down. But if anybody opposes that, then they're opposing helping little old ladies across the street. Like it's just how it is. So now, on real entertainment news, which I guess we're just going to pepper it throughout this entire episode, but this came out yesterday.
What?
And this
is that a remake?
Yeah, you didn't hear about
the same
this?
thing. I think I heard you talking about it, and I thought you were just full of shit.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 was released yesterday. It is literally, in my 30-something years, I don't know, I've lost count, years of life, this is the only game that I've ever purchased on release day, because I've been waiting for this game for like 10 years. I've been waiting on this game for probably at least a third of my life. And I will say that it holds up. It holds up very well. And the reason you texted me this morning asking if we could start later because we were supposed to do it at 10. I was like, yes, because I had just woken up when you sent that text, because I stayed up till like 1:30 in the morning playing this game.
That's funny. Is it same graphics, or did they redo all the graphics?
Of course, they vamped up all the graphics. It's not PS1 graphics.
It'd just be better, I think.
They should have the option to switch to that. That would be awesome.
That would be perfect.
To switch to a block on a skateboard. But yeah, the graphics are incredible, and they're like all the parks are the same. They've added a few new challenges and stuff, but the play is the same, and the controls you can switch between default, which I think is based off of Tony Hawk 3, but you can switch to Tony Hawk 1 and 2 because they had slightly different controls too. Like they finally did it right. They did a remake right, and apparently it was only like $35. Kayla bought it for me yesterday. I was expecting it to be 60, and I was like, I will still buy it at 60, and I will play it.
Well, it's two games in one too.
Right,
so
and
really, each game is only $30 if you think about it.
Right. Last night, after I was done, or this morning, after when I finished, I said to Kayla, I was like, somebody call the gaming people and tell them we're good now. We did it. We made the only thing that matters. All the rest of the games can go. You did it. Good job. Good job. I mean, if you want to make, Tony Hawk 3 and Underground and those, I'm down with that too. But other than that, I'm good.
I didn't really like Underground that much.
I don't think I really played it.
Did you play the downhill one? That one sucked.
I've been reading reviews on every Tony Hawk game since I was a child and being like, why can't they do the same thing and just put it in different, like, just make the same game and make different parks and slightly different features. You don't have to make a different game. And they tried the ride thing where you stand on the skateboard and grab. They tried a lot of gimmicks and they failed miserably.
Another one that I would like to see them put out before they just completely stop is redo GoldenEye 007.
That'd be great. And Perfect Dark.
Not for they tried redoing it for Wii.
Yes, and I bought it and it sucked.
It was awful.
I would rather go out and buy an N64 and the original game and play that than play it on Wii because it's just bad.
Right. They need to sell that game to either Xbox or PlayStation so they can actually do it right, because as long as Wii is in the picture, it's not going to be done right.
Yeah, they did Resident Evil 1 remake on Wii before they did the new remakes of Resident Evil, which I haven't had a chance to play. But I bought the first one. It was just like a passing thing that nobody really talked about before they redid it, which I think they did the same with Tony Hawk. They tried remaking it back in 2012 and everybody hated it. Yeah, they tried remaking Tony Hawk back in 2012 and people hated it and said it was clunky and awkward. It's like, how hard is it to just make, you have the entire game, just make it look better and slap a price tag on it and I'll buy it. But yeah, I bought the Resident Evil one on Wii and it was just clunky and awful, and Wii sucks.
Wii just does suck. The only thing, we bought a Wii for the kids, used, and they played it for quite a while. And then for Christmas a few years ago, we bought them the Wii U used, only specifically for Mario. So I could have high definition Netflix on my TV without, because I was going to go buy a Blu-ray player to get high definition Netflix. And then I was like, well, we might as well get this Wii U because then the kids can play the games and stuff. And they played it for a couple months and then they were over it too. And it was
Super Mario and Zelda. That's it? That's all you've got.
Mario Kart.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Mario games and Zelda games sometimes
they have
is
Sonic
the only thing
now,
that they have to offer.
But
yeah, have
Sonic
they done that right
suck.
yet, though?
No, they're on the Wii. Since Sonic moved over to Nintendo, it's never been done right.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah, I remember
Sonic
the Dreamcast games even started going downhill for Sonic, but then everything that I've played for Sonic on Wii or anything has just been garbage. Except for the throwbacks, which are exactly the same as the old ones.
Yeah.
Those are okay. But anyway, I saw that in other entertainment news, you had up a story about Mulan, and I had some stuff about Mulan as well.
Oh, you saw that at the top of my screen?
Yes, I did.
Wow, you really pay attention.
Yes, before you give speaking of, I don't know, I'm calling it nostalgia. That's the term that I coined last night while playing Tony Hawk. It's nostalgia. Mulan, it's like $30 to stream because they're not putting it out in theaters, so they're putting it out as a stream for $30.
So are they claiming that's because of COVID, or is it just because it sucked so badly that it's going straight to streaming?
I think it's because they're trying to say it's because of COVID, and I kind of get it because there are a lot of people that don't want to go out because of COVID, and they want their numbers to look awesome. So if I was them, I would put it out in certain theaters and put it out on streaming so that everybody gets what they want. But I am not paying $30 to stream a movie ever.
It'll end up on Disney Plus soon anyway.
Right, especially since everybody seems to hate it. I'm definitely not streaming it now.
This article that I had pulled up is a review of it. And the reviewer sucks, first of all, and then,
of course they do.
but his title, this is on Vox, so it's legit. But the title of this story is Disney's New Mulan. Pack up, go home, you're through.
And is it because it has a strong female lead in it?
Yeah, no.
I heard that they even like took away her training and stuff, and in the movie she's got like this special ability that she's keeping a secret, and then she makes it like she uses it later, and then it's like about being who you are. It's like, that's not though, because she has a superpower. People don't relate to that. The cool thing about the original was you had a girl who wasn't as strong as the men, she worked her ass off and beat the crap out of them. It was awesome.
Right.
It was inclusive and it made sense. But if you start her out strong, then there's no arc and there's no development and nobody cares about your character.
Well, this guy, the subtitle says the Mulan remake jettisons everything great about Disney's animated classic and delivers nothing new, which we knew that going into it. Yes. We haven't seen it, but we had talked before when they first started talking about it. I think we talked about Mulan on the show and how they were taking Mushu out, the only good thing about, and I think they took out the "Let's Get Down to Business" song, which is those are the two best.
Well, they took out all the songs entirely.
Yes. Because
they took out all the songs. And I heard that they took out Mushu because they were trying to appease their China audience, and the Chinese audience said that it was disrespectful of their heritage because the dragon is a symbol of strength and power and blah, 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 which is fine. If you want to do that to appease a certain audience, fine, go for it. But just know you might be alienating the rest of the audience who want to see the thing that made them like the movie in the first place. And if you thought that it was, if you thought that it was insensitive to have a funny dragon voiced by Eddie Murphy in there, then maybe you shouldn't have done it to begin with. But it is what it is, and people, you'll reap the reward of the justice that you are serving in not having a talking dragon in your movie because nobody wants to see your movie anymore.
Right. So I'm gonna read just a little bit of this because, like the intro throws back to the original movie, and I think we all have an understanding of what the original movie was. But
no, tell us.
It was talking about the song "I'll Make a Man Out of You" and how it was kind of one of the highlights of the movie. So then it goes on to say that song and all of its cheeky irony doesn't make it into Disney's new live-action adaptation of the animated hit Mulan, though it may be the most highly anticipated of all Disney's recent remakes. Is it the most highly anticipated?
Yeah, it's way more anticipated than The Lion King,
right.
Aladdin. I mean, it was one of my favorite Disney movies, but not to say that the other ones did any better, but
no.
I don't think any of them are highly anticipated at this point.
Well, for me, because a Disney movie was my favorite, that makes me the least anticipated to see it ruined and trashed on live animation.
Right.
It says there's little connective tissue within the new film. Instead, for all of its screenplays threadbare talk about the importance of cultivating deep understanding, Mulan stays superficial and perfunctory. I don't know what that means. It gets down to business and little else, it says. Few bright spots that could save it from clunky writing. To agree, everyone of Disney's recent strings of live-action adaptations of its animated classic has had to justify itself, its reasoning for existing. The many films Disney has tried to put new spins on have ranged from beloved 90s films whose remakes failed to serve much purpose, like Beauty and the Beast and Lion King, to older films like Dumbo and The Jungle Book, which unquestionably benefited from applying more progressive contemporary lenses to their initially problematic tellings. I see Dumbo, like there was a lot of racist stuff on Dumbo.
Right.
What was on Jungle Book that was racist or problematic?
I mean, it was 90% animals, so I have no idea.
Was Indian people, but that's kind of the point. It
was
based
there? I don't even remember.
India. Well, the
you mean like Native American people or Indian people?
No, like Indian people.
Oh, so is it racist to have the people be
culture,
Chinese
yes.
in Mulan?
Yep. Mulan seems to fall outside of these two extremes. The 1998 animated film won high critical praise and legions of devoted fans. The plot of this version of Mulan is fairly simple. Mulan has been struggling to behave as a proper young lady when she learns her aging father has been drafted into the Emperor's army. Disguising herself as a man, Mulan joins the regiment in her father's place. There she learns to fight, builds character, and makes friends with the guys. After her gender is inadvertently revealed and she faces disgrace, she chooses to fight as a girl, ultimately saving them. Yeah, we know all this. This is what you're talking about.
Is anybody, I'm curious, is anybody mad about, Mulan not being played by an actual transgender person?
Wait.
Oh, shit.
Wait. I don't know if it gets that extreme. So I'm going to bypass all the rest of this shit that they're talking about. They even changed the Huns guy, Attila the Hun guy, and they have two main bad guys which he
Why?
says they barely explain and they barely even get screen time.
Oh, Lord.
Let's see.
Why? Why would they change it to two
I
guys instead of one
don't know.
guy?
The weak writing makes Mulan's gender issues a lot messier. The lack of emotional development especially shortchanges the movie's main plot thread. Mulan battling and ultimately coming to terms with her gender. I don't think she was ever battling her gender.
No?
Yeah, she was battling gender roles, like not being the
That's not battling your gender.
geisha type.
And of all people, the leftists should know that doesn't define your gender.
Right. Well, the new Mulan, I'm sorry to say, offers a much more binary reading of gender than its predecessor, which was frequently unsubtle in the way it coded Mulan's refusal to accept her assigned gender, offering multiple readings of the character. In the original film, Mulan was able to pass successfully as a man until she was inadvertently unmasked in the new film. In the new film, she isn't fully able to pass. It's implied that her love interest, the new character Hongui, knows her gender long before she decides to reveal herself. And that's a key difference that the live-action film doesn't come close to pulling off. Making Mulan's gender reveal make sense and feel satisfying. To be clear, Mulan doesn't need to work as a narrative story of trans or non-binary identity to be successful. The original Mulan is a great film, whether you read it as a trans man coming to embrace his identity or as a cisgender girl finding empowerment for herself.
How could you even read it like that? She doesn't stay a man at the end. She puts on a costume and then goes to fight a war. And then she takes it off and is just a badass chick with a dress on again.
Right.
Or, whatever you call Chinese dresses.
I don't know. Kimonos. In this film, regardless of how you read Mulan's gender, the story fails to present this giant conflict in a way that feels compelling. Mulan's guilt over hiding her cis identity is what drives her big emotional shift. Only we don't really see or feel Mulan's internal conflict apart from a couple of repeated references to her failure to embody truth. What we see on screen far more often than Mulan feeling guilty for deceiving everyone is Mulan being preoccupied with successfully passing as a man. A classic trans mentality that invites us to empathize with her.
Can we move on now?
Trans
I'm bored with this story.
Well, he even
They're
had
really stretching here.
They are. Well, he even had a problem with, where was it at? There was, he had a problem that four cisgendered white people wrote the story to begin with. The script to begin with. Yes, that was one of his.
I guess they have to be Chinese to have a Chinese. Yes. Do they have any issue with the fact that everybody speaks English in the movie?
You would think so,
or that it's made by an American company at all? Because you got to play this out to its fullest conclusion. If only Chinese people can write for Chinese actors, only Chinese people can play Chinese actors. Sorry, Tom Cruise. But if that's the case, then can a non-Chinese studio release a Chinese movie?
No.
I say no. Burn it all down.
So on that topic, I was in school last year, and I had to take this music, like appreciation of music class or something, music theory class or something. Well, one of the things we were forced to do was go to see this opera, which wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
You've told this story before.
Have I? Did I tell you the fact that it was an opera written and set in Japan, but the director decided he wanted to be more progressive, and he refused to paint them to look like Japanese women and have black hair. So they all had like their blonde hair.
So it was just confusing as hell.
But just a bunch of white people out. Well,
he should have went out and hired Japanese people. I mean, even if you don't doll them up, they're playing Japanese characters.
It was, I don't think it was Italian. Most operas are, a lot of operas, I think it was German maybe. But so it's a bunch of like blonde-haired people singing in German in the setting of Japan.
Right.
Of like early 1900s Japan. I had no idea what was going on. So
it's art, people. It's fine. Yes. Get over it. And if you are a trans person, fine. That's fine. This movie isn't actually about you in any way whatsoever.
No.
This movie is about a Chinese woman who wants to save her father. That's it.
Right.
That's what this movie is about.
I
or at least
never
it used
watched
to be.
that show and was like, man, is there transsexual representation or is that what's going on here? No, like he's like, whether you watch it in this light or in that light, whoever watched it in that light?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe because we are cisgendered white males, we just didn't catch that, or watch it in that light.
Speaking of cisgender white males, and we're getting close to our time here, so we got to get into this at least before the bonus.
All right.
Speaking of terrible, awful people, have you heard about Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yes. I talked about him.
I feel like that's all we're allowed to say at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that he's a terrorist?
Whoa.
Okay, so I will say about this the same thing that we say about all of these murders and deaths and everything. We are not. We don't have all the information because we weren't there. Even if we watched all the videos, we don't have all the information. We can only go off of what we have, which in this case is a lot. And in this case, so everybody's argument is, do we really have to break down all the details, or is everybody fully aware by now what happened?
Why don't you give what you say everybody's thought is? What is everybody's thought?
Well, not everybody, but a lot of people are, looking at. Okay, I guess we do have to do a little bit of diligence and explain a little bit here. So this Kenosha situation, Kyle goes to defend this. We know now that Kyle went to defend a small business. He was attacked. Or he put out. Why don't you break it down? You've already covered this story, and you've got the facts.
I just wanted to know what the public actually thinks about this before I tell you. What was he doing there? Why was he there? You tell me.
Do you want to know what I think or what everybody else seems to think?
A little bit of both.
Okay, I think based on what we know now, Kyle went 30 minutes to the local town where he was employed and was asked to defend a small business.
I wasn't sure if you knew that
and
part.
So
I wasn't sure if you were aware of that part.
And so
because
he did that.
Most people are like, he traveled across state lines with a gun, and just to hunt down black people,
right?
Which were any of the people he shot
none of
black?
them were black. No, I don't think so.
He was there to hunt down black people, and he's a murderer. But like you said, he worked there. He was a lifeguard.
Right.
In
I
Kenosha.
live in the middle of nowhere. I have to drive 45 minutes to get anywhere. This guy driving 30 minutes and it just happening to be across the state line does not mean that, he's the freaking hypocrisy of these people who seem to be bussing people in, hordes and hordes of people from out of town to burn places down. But this guy's not allowed to drive 30 minutes to defend a business from being burned down. Otherwise, he's a murderer.
Right.
It just makes no sense. And again, I am open to being proven wrong here, but where it stands right now, that he supported cops, sure. If that's his only sin, then I can't really. I don't. Oh, and people are also using against him. There was some footage of him supposedly punching a girl or something, which is from a really far away distance, and you can barely make it. Probably is him. Fine, maybe he's been a shitbag in his life, but when he kills these people and we say those people were pedophiles, obviously that has nothing to do with this current story. Just a fun little fact. He killed pedophiles.
Or the people killed by cops, they have a criminal history of raping people or abusing people.
And then we're told, don't bring up their history because it doesn't matter. You're right. It doesn't matter. So why are you bringing it up? Why are you bringing up that he supported cops? Or why are you bringing up that his mom was a cop, allegedly, or something like that? Why are you bringing up him punching a chick in the face? All that matters in this story is Kyle Rittenhouse was there. He was asked to be there. He was asked to be there to defend the property, and he did that. And just so happened he is a really good shot and really good at picking out pedophiles in a crowd. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Well, I had read an article that the pedophile you're talking about, they're saying, well, he history of like having sex with like a 17-year-old. No, the article or the thing I read, I don't know how true it is because it's the internet and we don't know it's true anymore.
Yeah.
Is that he had abused, I think, boys from the age 9 to 11-year-old boys, like 3 of them or something like that.
Right.
So no, it wasn't just like, oh, I was 25-year-old that had sex with a 17-year-old. No,
Yes.
That's not what it sounds like from this angle of it. It sounds like this guy was a horrible person that probably deserved to have a bullet in his chest.
And again, it could not matter less. He did not shoot him because of his history, and Kyle did not shoot the guy because of Kyle's history of violence either. Maybe he punched a girl. Fine. That girl should have called the cops, and Kyle should be in jail if that's the case. What we're talking about here has nothing to do with that. He didn't know that the guy was a pedophile. Doesn't matter. What matters is that a man was chasing him down, had him on the ground on his back, and then got shot. And they threw things at him. They bashed him with a skateboard. I mean, it's hard to
cocktails on him.
I don't know if it was a Molotov cocktail. There's some speculation there. It looks like it's some sort of bag, but the bag is clearly heavy, so there's something in it because a paper bag doesn't just fly that aggressively at somebody. But
right.
Needless to say, there's a mob of people.
One of them had a pistol.
Yes, and with all the history that has been happening right now, all the violence and everything, so people are going to, he shouldn't have been there. He had no reason to be there. Okay, I agree with you. He shouldn't have been there. Neither should they. Nobody should have been there. None of this should have happened. Nobody should be dead. Nobody should have shot. Nobody should have had to shoot because there shouldn't be violent mobs in the street where you have to defend your property with a gun.
Right. Well,
if it was a peaceful protest, nobody would feel the need to have guns. He wouldn't have had to have put out a flaming dumpster fire. Like, he wouldn't have had to do that if this was a peaceful protest.
Sure. And yeah, he had a gun, which whether or not he was supposed to be carrying it, fine. But he was being
chased. The libertarians who are calling him out for being underage with a gun, shame on you retards. I am sorry, but like
that's the most hypocritical thing you could say as a libertarian.
Calling the kettle black rifle, because libertarians are like, I should be allowed to own a gun, and if I am able to use a gun to defend myself, it shouldn't matter what age I am. Okay. He used a gun better than you can, so where's your argument? Like,
yeah.
Good luck finding somebody else who is a better marksman on the run from an angry mob than Kyle Rittenhouse at this point.
No shit. I had seen a thing where it was a meme, and have you heard of the Boogaloos? All the people that dress in like tack gear.
No, I've never heard of them.
I bet you have. They're like the more right wing guys that are like have the ARs that are all decked out. They have like the $2,500 ARs that are all decked out in like $5,000 worth of gear. They're wearing like their flak jackets and all like commandoed out like Rambo style. And it's like all these boogaloos saying that they're gonna go and end protesting, and it takes this guy
with no armor. No armor at all.
He doesn't look anything like them. With his $400 AR, is the first person to actually do something about it.
And for them to say this guy was a future cop, you guys had your chance. You built Chaz. Lest we forget, you built the CHOP. You employed your own cops, or they at least by force decided that they were cops. How did that work out for you? If you're saying that this guy's a cop for defending himself, like, then fine, we need more cops. We need more people like that who are able to have, like, he did better than it seems a lot of these cops are doing in these situations. He assessed the situation. He shot the people who were an immediate threat to his well-being. And when he was on the ground in this flurry of craze, another kid that was chasing him put their hands up, and he points the gun at him, does not shoot him because he saw that guy was like, whoa, I don't want to die tonight. That's what we need more cops to do. I'm not like a diehard supporter of this kid, but to say that he's like this terrorist murderer is just either
so far from the truth.
It's either flagrantly dishonest or it just is. Like, you can't look at this and say that he is like he went out with the intention to shoot somebody. He might have went out with not the best of intentions. He went out with a gun. Maybe he was like, well, I'm a badass. Maybe, I can defend this place. That's not the best of intentions to plan on defending with violence, but what choice do you have when correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard the person that employed him to watch this business, they had another business or two, or they had one other business, I think, that was burned down, and they had two more businesses. Yes. This is one of them. Yes. So what's the right answer? When the cops won't do anything, what is the right answer? And how old you got to be? How old you got to be, libertarians, before you're allowed to defend yourself?
Well, you're supposed to just allow them, like you said earlier in the show, just allow them in solidarity to burn down your business and everything you worked your entire life for, because you are fully supporting this cause. So you should just, and you hear the reasoning, well, is stuff more important than human lives? It's like, no, but, and then I'd seen one that was like, I'd seen one that's like, no, but you think taking my stuff is more important than your human life.
Exactly. So I was going to say, it might be. That's for you to figure out. Is your life worth burning down somebody's building? Because somebody else might have differing moral views than you, and they might decide to shoot you. And whether or not it's illegal does not matter, because you're dead now.
Well, if you look back in like the protests of the 60s, like the Martin Luther King stuff, even the peaceful ones, the marches and stuff that Martin Luther King led, they basically went in with the thought that I am probably going to die. There's a good chance I'm going to die, but I support my cause so much that I'm going to die do this thing, whether or not I die or not. The difference between that and today is people go in and with the completely different agenda of just like burning shit down just for no reason at all, like tearing shit up, like abusing people, assaulting people, and then one of them dies and they're like, oh my God, somebody died doing this.
Right.
They're not going in with that intention of my cause is so great that I will die for it. They're going in with, hey, all this shit needs to burn down. Oh no, somebody actually got hurt doing this. Like,
right. Why are you acting shocked?
What did you expect? What did you expect would happen?
Do not lie and pretend like you're surprised by this. Just know that there are rich and powerful people somewhere that are applauding your death because you are their propaganda, and your life is to push their campaign forward. Just know that that's the amount of your human value to these politicians. They're using you. They are using you to, yes, it's the people that you're espousing their beliefs. They're freaking Kamala Harris is a cop. Like, these people have a terrible history.
She calls herself a cop's cop. She's like the top cop.
But you're going out to die so that these people can get elected office. And freaking Biden just put out a $45 million ad campaign on Law and Order. What are you trying to accomplish by being used as a pawn, by your life only mattering to the extent of maybe we can garner a couple more votes? Anyway.
Well, did you hear the mayor's first initial response after Kyle killed the people and all the outrage? Did you hear what his response was? Well, if y'all weren't out after curfew, this wouldn't have happened. Like, that's how you get public support. Whether or not you agree with it or not, it's like that might have been the wrong
told you guys
answer.
To stay home. Why didn't you guys? No,
that's like
I don't agree with that either.
That's like when your kid gets up from bed and falls down the stairs and breaks his leg, and the first thing you say is, well, if you'd stayed in bed, you wouldn't have broke your leg. It's like, that's not what your kid wants to hear right now.
And to be clear, as a libertarian, I support curfews being mandated even less than I support protests. So,
yes.
I mean, obviously protests are great. But again, once it's fiery, I don't remember if we talked about this in this episode or in the bonus pre-episode. But speaking of which, if you'd like to get the bonus pre-episode and probably the bonus after episode, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/the system is down. However, once you have to include in the title fiery, can you call it a peaceful protest anymore? I'm not sure where that line is.
I don't think so. Back to what you're saying about protest, though, it's like, it's kind of like gun laws. The only people that gun laws or curfews actually affect are the people that aren't causing the problems. Because you think the people burning shit down illegally are going to be like, oh, they mandated that I'm supposed to be
Right.
home tonight, so I should probably
good
go
point.
home.
That's a
No,
good point. Like
the
the
only
people who are
people that
staying in their
staying
homes are the
home,
ones abiding by the laws, not
they're
burning
the
things
ones that
down
were
that the
probably
laws were
staying
made
home.
for.
They were probably already staying home to begin with, having dinner with their kids and watching
Or scared
the
shitless.
news. Yes. So it's stupid. Well, the only good that comes from that, I guess, is you can justify arresting somebody for being out out on the streets at that point, because you can't just
but they're not doing
you're
that.
not
So why
supposed
set
to
why set the curfew if you're not arresting people? I
Right.
don't want them to. I don't want them to arrest the people for protesting. I don't want them to set the curfew, but why set the curfew if you're not going to enforce it in any way whatsoever?
Right.
So that brings me to another point, which is, all these people using Martin Luther King's words to endorse riots and saying riots are the voice of the unheard. You've heard people say this, correct?
Yes.
Now, have you looked into the rest of that speech?
I did at one point. I don't remember though.
Martin Luther King seems to be very much opposed to riots.
Well, he was.
Because you can say
he was the peaceful protest guy, and that's why Malcolm X and him didn't see eye to eye, because Malcolm X was on completely the other side with the Black Panthers, saying, "Hey, this isn't doing enough. We need to do more."
Yes, it's just why are we? I don't know. Just the dishonesty of using just that little snippet quote when he's going on and basically condemning riots, saying nothing will be solved by violence. He's saying, I understand the riots. They are the voice of the unheard. These people have been through some shit. And I agree with that. I agree with that in this circumstance. And riots are the voice of the unheard. And also, don't riot, because it's not going to help. It's not going to solve what you think it's going to solve. It's not going to make people less racist. It's not going to make them more in support of your movement. Protesting, I would be perfectly fine if we had peaceful protests every single night for the last 3 months. Fine. That's great. I know that doesn't
disruption.
Yeah.
Even the people that are standing in the middle of the roads, not allowing traffic to get through. I can get on board with that. Make people's lives uncomfortable. Yes. Even after the initial reports of George Floyd came out, we both talked about this. And we're like, yeah, make some noise.
Yeah, maybe burn down a cop shop. Maybe
if shit up a little bit.
If the local police station is what had the problem, I'm not going to say it definitively, but there's a part of me that can justify seeing your attacker and attacking your attacker if that's what you think is the case. Mm-hmm. However, we're way beyond that at this point.
Right. We're not burning down the government buildings that we're opposed to. We're not burning down the police shop. I mean, they are burning down cop shops, but they're burning down everything else on top of that. Like the communities that they think we should be supporting more, they're burning them down.
Yes.
It makes no sense to me at all. And yeah, I guess that we are just white and stupid and we don't understand.
Amen.
But I would never, if it got to the point where and I could see it getting there, where it was you were hated to be white and you were shot to be white and all the above, I'm not going to go to my buddy's shop and burn it down and protest. I'm just not going to do that. I'm
going to leave the country.
I might bunker down in his shop and form in my community, how the Chaz or Chop did it, which they just did a horrible job of it. Maybe form a community where we're defending ourselves, but I'm not going to burn that place down. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll talk about this more. We'll have to do a little bit of bonus because I do have more to rant about. But we do got to wrap this up. Do we have anything happy to wrap this main episode up on? Aside from saucy nugs or trash?
I did have you seen these things where Joe Biden's going full Ron Burgundy in his speeches, reading the teleprompter cues?
I heard about it, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. And I do want to say to everybody out there, if you're listening to this, obviously you are, otherwise my words mean nothing at this point. But whether you're listening to this or not, if you guys have information that disagrees with us, let us know. because we are open to changing our minds. We're not just Stephen Crowder saying change my mind and then arguing about it all day long. But if you have information, we are open to it. We're just taking the information that we've been given thus far, putting it together and saying, Kyle Rittenhouse was acting in self-defense. And if a man pulls a gun on you, you have every right to shoot him in the face. Whether he has shot at you, whether he has pulled the trigger or not, if he is aiming it at you, or if, like in Rand Paul's case, if people are calling for violence against you, you might have the right to take action against them, be that legal action or be that physical action. If somebody is calling for violence, that is violence, way more than silence is. Sorry, but that's the case. And when you find yourself in that situation, when this whole thing backfires on you, when you become the ones that they're coming for, you'll change your tune. And suddenly you won't be a big fan of angry mobs because suddenly they'll disagree with you on the matter, and you will be the one having to defend yourself, and there will be no one there to save you. There will be no Kyle Rittenhouses defending your house because you called them all murderers. Sorry.
Yep. Everyone's going to be too afraid to defend themselves anymore. I mean, they're going to defend themselves. It's going to get to the point where it's just like every man for themselves. Yeah. And there's not going to be this community feeling of, hey, we need to stand arm in arm and like help each other out. No, it's just going to be like,
I want to know if
everybody's a threat at this point.
Right. I want to know if these protesters feel that camaraderie between the people that they're burning down things with. Like, are they like getting together and having meetings? I just want to know what's happening, because the people who are legitimately peaceful protesting, good on you. But my God, it's hard to even know where you are these days, because and you can say maybe the news just isn't covering it. That might be the case because there's so much not peaceful protesting going on that, of course, the news is going to cover the flaming dumpster fire over the people who are calling for actual justice and change.
Yep, I agree.
I'm tired.
I am too. Did we want a happy note? Did we want Biden's?
Yeah, let's go ahead and throw in some Biden just for funsies and get out of here.
Let's see. I've got two of them. One of them you can't really hear as well. Well, both of them you got to listen for. This first one, he says, Joe Biden reads, because it says top line message at the top, and he reads that. And so here, let me pull this up.
What's the president doing? But look, Venezuela's top line message is President Trump's policy is an abject failure.
Venezuela's top line message policy is so.
Play that again. I was reading a text from my schedule later today.
What's the president doing?
Start it.
What's the president doing? But look, Venezuela's top line message is President Trump's policy is an abject failure.
That's funny. I mean, you almost see it as that could have been part of the speech.
Right.
But then this one where he says like end quote. You barely hear it.
Oh,
but he
really?
says, end quote.
To fund Social Security and eliminate Obamacare in the middle of a pandemic. End of quote.
End of quote.
People are kind of blowing this up a little bit, in my opinion.
No,
because
but it just shows
the end of quote thing. I say that when I'm reading something. If I'm saying a quote, I say end quote at the end, so you know where the quote ended. That's not that big a deal. And the other one, the top line message thing. Yeah, that one's funny, but it's not nearly as bad as like the Ron Burgundy FU San Diego thing.
No, but it's funny.
It is pretty funny. And that's not to say that Joe Biden isn't mentally unsound.
That gives more credence to me, more for me to believe that his 35-minute speech that he coherently gave at the Democratic National Convention had to have been a deep fake. It had to have been.
Well, here's the thing about that, though. It didn't have to be, because they could have recorded that in advance at any time. They've probably been working on that speech for the last 2 months. They've probably just been retake after retake, see where we can stitch it together. Please don't say monkey nuts again instead of whatever you were supposed to say. Like, he could have done it a million times. We have no evidence that was live, and maybe they even slowed it down so he could read it slowly and then speed it up to a normal pace. There's a lot of ways that they could do it without a deep fake, but I'm not opposed to a good deep fake theory, and I think it's absolutely possible. I heard somebody, this topic was brought up on some other show, and they were like, I don't think that we have the technology to do yada yada. It's like, of course we have the technology to do that at this point. We do it in movies.
Facebook?
Right, we do it in movies. And if we have the technology to a consumer-based level where you can download an app and do a crappy deepfake, how much better do you think the DNC has access to? And
the military, the government, anybody that has a little more resource than we have. Yeah, there's an app now where you can put
they're all lizard people. They've got technology we don't know about.
They could have a lizard person shapeshifter just shapeshifting and giving.
I think they do. His name is Joe Biden.
He just forgot how to shapeshift. No, but yeah, we, like you were saying, we have an app where you can put your face on like Beyonce singing a music video. I mean, it's not convincing, obviously, but it's a free app.
Right.
That somebody probably threw together in 15 minutes in their mother's basement. So if that guy in his sweatpants in his basement can put together that app, then I guarantee you the U.S. intelligence can put together a pretty convincing deepfake.
Exactly. And we're gonna have to talk about some more Biden and the bonus, but we got to get out of here. We got to go. We got to go enjoy our Saturday. But thank you guys all for listening. I hope that we offended you sufficiently and adequately to the level that you are supposed to be offended in real life, the level that makes you think and grow as a person instead of only hearing your favorite celebrities repeat the script back to you that you have written for them. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you for supporting. If you want to hear the extended episode, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/The System Is Down. Once again, that's patreon.com/The System Is Down, and sign up for the Downers Club, and you'll get bonus episodes of the show every single week, including what we're going to do right now. But to the rest of you freeloaders, question everything, stay uncomfortable, and go fuck yourselves.
Hey Downers, if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. But more importantly, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/The System Is Down, because the evil wizards of YouTube almost never let us monetize anything on here. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.